After that, BangHu rode his bike to the company. Upon arrival, Jiryu Library had turned into a pile of debris after last night's fire. As he walked inside, he assessed the extensive damage caused by the blaze, even catching a whiff of the lingering burnt scent. As he approached the staircase, BangHu encountered Joho. "BangHu, you've been caught too," Joho exclaimed. "Why didn't you come here to work, Odaihe?" Inside the office, a scene of utter strangeness unfolded. People dressed in tattered clothes, their faces devoid of emotion, sat working. BangHu realized that these were the people who had died the day before. In their memory, they seemed to be living perfectly normal lives. What was real? Soon after, from the business manager's office, Odaihe's voice resounded sharply. "BangHu, why are you only coming to work now? I texted you, why didn't you reply?" BangHu ignored Odaihe's complaints and only asked about when his commission would be paid. His work attitude and demands irritated Odaihe, who retorted with fiery red eyes, "Who's dead? Do you even know how to talk? I'm still here, poking around." BangHu didn't want to hear Odaihe anymore. He took out his surgical knife and swiftly slit Odaihe's throat. As Odaihe collapsed, everyone in the office stood up, staring intensely at BangHu. Their bodies quickly morphed into monstrous forms and charged at him. Unfazed, BangHu, bolstered by his enhanced abilities and the sharp knife in his hand, effortlessly dispatched all of them. He looked down upon the grotesque creatures with disdain. "Had enough? Had your fun? Get out," he scoffed, dismissing them as mere illusions created by those demonic entities. In that room, among the living, only Joho and two colleagues remained, who had escaped Akmagudeong the day before. At this moment, BangHu was still immersed in the eerie dreamlike scene. "It seemed that this was your ability, huh?" BangHu could only see a monstrous creature standing before him, a giant eye of extreme strangeness. It asked BangHu, "How can you see me? Why aren't you afraid?" BangHu confidently stared back, realizing that it relied on fear to harm people. No wonder those lists of deceased individuals, upon returning to life, all called for its employment. Even after death, having to work, truly terrifying. Yet, it's also thanks to you that such horrifying events were intentionally created to frighten me again, igniting hope within me once more and teaching me how to escape this illusion. Seeing BangHu play along like this, the eye could only depart. Humans have no fear. I remember you well now. You're the entity that controls this illusion, scaring away the demon nurse. If my guess is correct, that nurse demon holding the surgical knife is the weakest kind in this psychiatric hospital. Meanwhile, the stronger demons likely use real-life experiences, turning people into one of those things that flee from hospital rooms. Both their abilities and characteristics are different. At this moment, young Joho couldn't overcome the dreamlike scene and ended up losing his life. BangHu recalled the words he once said after his death, "BangHu, take me away." Determined to end his own life to give Joho another chance, if possessing supernatural abilities is about controlling this illusion, then the best approach is to avoid falling asleep. Without a realm of supernatural creatures, it's just a dream. It seems we have no way to escape going through this illusion and wanting to pass this test. We can only rely on ourselves to control our fear. Inside the emergency exit, there is still one more supernatural creature. Is it still here? They'll stay within the confines of illusion. They create innumerable strange things and even make us assume we've left dangerous territory. But everything is a fake that needs to be treated to ensure we can survive. If you see Bibi in the illusion, you can touch her or not feel her at all. This is the key to the dreamlike scene, but I haven't yet touched it personally during this period of similar dreams. It was also to the point of being freed that the others, finally, overcame fear through checking. BangHu came up with a physical method to wake Joho from his dream state. Despite repeatedly being slapped and kicked by BangHu, Joho still didn't wake up. The pain was intense, yet Joho remained unconscious. Dream demons are indeed formidable, BangHu thought to himself. He decided to try another approach. He then took a surgical knife and stabbed Joho in the thigh. Joho screamed in agony, but still did not wake up, instead fainting from the pain. Is there really no way to save him? BangHu wondered, feeling hopeless. he decided to try one last time. Last attempt. If this doesn't work, I'll have to give up, he resolved. The previous night, BangHu shared his dream with Joho, recounting encountering a beautiful female demon. Just as he was about to marry her in the dream, he woke up, leaving him disappointed. Wait until I come out, and I'll definitely find a woman, BangHu vowed. That's right. Although Joho is introverted, his biggest characteristic is his lustfulness. Joho, quickly open your phone, BangHu urged, turning up the volume to the maximum. What are you trying to do, BangHu? Joho asked, to which BangHu didn't reply, but instructed Joho to turn on the speaker. It's my favorite movie, BangHu said excitedly. Private tutoring after school by a beautiful teacher. Joho, you got this one wrong. Be obedient and take your punishment, the video said sternly. What are you joking about? Joho asked. If you want to watch, wait until we get out of here, BangHu replied. Look at this. It's a lifesaver for you. Now quickly open your phone, BangHu said seriously. Seeing BangHu so serious, Joho reluctantly complied. The video of the beautiful teacher immediately appeared on the screen. Lie down. You got the answer wrong, so you'll be spanked, the video demanded sternly. Take it seriously, Joho, it continued. Joho was forced to immerse himself in the movie as instructed, to lift his spirits and wait. After entering the dreamland, no matter what happened, he shouldn't care. Just close his eyes and think of this scene directly. Does it hurt not to know where I went wrong? If I can't say anything, she'll continue to beat me. Joho had only watched for a moment, but he was already hot all over. BangHu reminded his younger brother to just casually watch, that would be enough. Watching too much could make it unforgettable. No need to care what appears later, it's all fake. Find the dream's loophole and don't be afraid of dying. The dream started, and while two colleagues couldn't pass and logged out of the server, Joho, in stark contrast, was extremely excited. He even tore his own shirt off. It seemed that the beautiful and eerie demon had indeed had an effect. In the film, a Chinese ghost story, the male protagonist was mesmerized by the female ghost, and similarly, Joho now exhibited a supernatural aura. So, he's already illuminated his aura, BangHu remarked as Joho quickly woke up, shouting Baby! Baby, don't run! BangHu was speechless at Joho's behavior. This guy dreams about beautiful girls all the time, he thought. Joho hesitated a bit before looking at BangHu and asking, Are you really BangHu? Can I touch you for a moment? Has your brain really progressed? BangHu replied, Of course, not much. A plumber, an air stewardess, a beautiful female patient, and a fortunate doctor. Enough, BangHu. Did you peek at my phone? After overcoming the dream, BangHu and Joho continued moving forward. Great, we're out, Joho exclaimed. Indeed, we're out, BangHu confirmed. Joho, do you think you've illuminated your aura? Just now, in the dream, I felt something very strange, like a sixth sense, Joho described. My energy has also become much stronger. So what ability have you awakened? I don't feel any particular ability, Joho admitted. But Wang Yediang said everyone has an aura. I guess I'm not the only one without one. So BangHu, what's your ability? My ability is predicting the future, BangHu explained. It's useful in the supernatural realm to find the right path, and knowing there are supernatural escapes, if this world really has Iljoryangsa, then predicting the future is even more valuable than escaping pain. After entering, I also gather useful information quickly from the organization. I want to become strong and then take revenge on them, especially my beloved wife at home, in my consciousness. The Cheongsan Psychiatric Hospital is actually a piece inside the sales department. Why couldn't I see any reason for the discrepancy? After merging with reality, scenes were discovered to have been obscured. Fortunately, I had a lucid dream encounter, incapable of attack. If beyond that door was another discrepancy, even escaping death, we'd fear being trapped inside. Facing absolute reality, fearing 100,000 times over again. Even 10,000 times is futile. Joho's innate brightness became Iljoryangsa. Why isn't there any reaction facing this world? Joho, do you see anything different around us? There's nothing but BangHu. He's probably mistaken. I captured a few birds. They look so weird. Perhaps Joho's innate brightness didn't help him see that demons can arise from excessive hope. Besides, others can see them. Joho secretly thought that his abilities were not yet awakened, and he was so envious of BangHu's ability to foresee the future. So how did you manage to escape the dream and disrupt it to that extent? It's all thanks to what BangHu taught me. I just plunge in without worrying about anything else. But why were you touching and kissing the air in the dream? What else did you do? It's not just that, there's more. BangHu is thoroughly embarrassed now. I'm just guessing. I don't have any real ability. Perhaps there was a mistake in the dream while you were waking up. That's fine, but you have to make sure not to tell anyone but us. Joho blushed and stammered. Actually, it wasn't anything special. After entering the dream state, I closed my eyes tightly. All I could see were images of a beautiful teacher lecturing. Then, I heard many complex sounds. There was also a female doctor with icy hands, constantly touching me. After thinking about your words, I diverted my attention elsewhere. Somewhere else. Where exactly did you redirect your focus to then? So, you automatically appraised the situation, didn't you? I was just trying to shift my attention. When encountering someone as despicable as this guy, even the most bizarre dreams can be baffling. Joho continued, unable to resist my curiosity. I opened my eyes and discovered someone standing right in front of me. Baby, the secretary. Joho immediately noticed Baby focusing on him, transforming instantly into a female demon with a wide-open mouth. She grabbed Joho's hands tightly and widened her blood-filled mouth, preparing to devour him. The young man silently thought he was done for, deciding to test whether Baby was real or fake. With Joho devoid of fear, the demon couldn't do anything more to him. No wonder those eyes didn't appear this time. They must have been scared of Joho. Too embarrassed to face anyone else, they might even prefer death over another encounter. When life's most important thing is to have no regrets, right? Joho said, calling a cab to go home and sleep. Contact me later for anything. All his colleagues were dead, and they might still meet. To think a supernatural being like you wants to go home and sleep, Joho muttered. Are you planning to call the police? Bibi sneered. No need. Someone will find you. In a world with paranormal creatures like Yojoriyansa, there's surely an organization to deal with them. If not, chaos would have taken over by now, Bibi predicted. If someone comes looking for you, say this. Honey, are you home? Have you eaten? Would you like me to make you something? Meanwhile, BangHu looked calmly at the beautiful girl before him. When she didn't receive a response, she continued, Can you see me? Before she finished her question, BangHu slit her throat with a knife. This was the moment of revenge he had been waiting for. Suddenly, the surroundings turned pitch black. BangHu woke up abruptly. So I'm dead now, he wondered. I don't even know how I died this time. Is this the power of my wife? The difference between paranormal beings and humans is still significant. I won't follow them. I'll just guide the director's office. The next logical step is to search the psychiatric hospital. My strength is currently weak. If I don't understand Yojoriyansa clearly or am unfamiliar with the paranormal, I'll wait until contacting the relevant organization and gather crucial information before deciding my next move. The Strategic Defense Department and the Global Paranormal Event Investigation Department should be involved. Chief Wang Dioke of the Investigation Bureau was well known to everyone. 5 years ago, a peculiar incident unfolded at Jiryu Library. Within its sales office, a dangerous anomaly surfaced, yet the spreading of this bizarre occurrence had not been detected so far. Chief Wang supervised the surrounding areas of Jiryu Library, monitoring the internal infiltration of demonic energies. Unfortunately, all surveillance systems had mysteriously lost signals, resulting in critical data loss. Among the survivors were 2 individuals, BangHu, who appeared slightly dazed, and Joho, both working in the library's sales department. Investigations revealed nothing unusual about them before they entered the affected area. Even ordinary individuals had managed to survive and escape from this perilous abyss, categorized as Level B danger. However, investigator Simryong noticed something peculiar about BangHu during the monitoring. His eyes didn't reflect the survival instinct of someone who escaped the abyss. Instead, they hinted at something beyond normalcy. Lee Moon-seol, Sim Ryong's assistant, seemed like an ordinary person before, but there was a possibility that he had transformed into Eojo Ryongsa after entering the abyss. Eojo Ryongsa, newly awakened to their sixth sense, could navigate and survive the dangers of Level C abyss. Chief Wang Dioke was visibly agitated, slamming his hand on the table, demanding silence for Sim Ryong. Tomorrow, she'll take Lee Moon-seol with her to approach them, he declared, to ascertain if their energies have awakened and to gauge the spiritual impediments. We'll decide whether they need to be brought back to the investigation bureau. The following day dawned anew. Inside BangHu's home, the incessant ringing of the phone disturbed his sleep. After a few moments, he stirred and reached for the phone, ignoring his beautiful wife nestled beside him. "Honey, don't mind it," she murmured, half asleep. "Let me continue sleeping with you." On the other end of the line, Joho's voice burst with excitement. "I finally understand my abilities now," he exclaimed. "I was hesitant to tell you yesterday. I can only use my powers after 11 p.m., and they seem to manifest on their own at this hour. I have another hour to explore what I can do." BangHu sat up, putting on his shirt and asked, "So what kind of ability is it after all?" "I've told you, BangHu, don't be scared," she replied. "Although your future predictions are strong, mine is the true power that all men in the world desire most." "You really talk nonsense." BangHu grew increasingly impatient. "What ability allows you to speak and laugh so cheerfully like that?" BangHu was both curious and irritated. "If you keep wasting words, I'll cut you off." "Fine, my ability," she continued, "is to become more handsome after 11 o'clock. My body's potential also increases, muscles bulging. But let's delete that, don't mention it yet." "I haven't finished," she added. "My strongest point is actually behind. The physique enhancement is just an add-on. What really increases is sexual prowess." BangHu was at a loss for words. "And you call that ability? What a pervert." Joho intervened. "You don't know how strong she is. Yesterday was just a test. She can handle over 100 kilograms, and well, she's bigger and longer." Before he could finish bragging, BangHu ended the call. Later, contemplating Iljoryong's abilities, he thought, what could awaken such powers? Little did he know she could awaken such a powerful yet absurd ability. Getting more handsome with bulging muscles and higher sexual prowess, he thought. This ability seems more suitable for an adult film actor. After eating breakfast with fried eggs and smoked meat, BangHu ignored his wife's insistence and ate heartily. Meanwhile, a silver car was speeding to BangHu's house. It stopped and a woman in black high heels quickly stepped out, Sim Ryong, an investigator from the Bizarre Events Unit. Sim Ryong asked her assistant, "Did you hear their conversation on the phone? From their dialogue, they used to be ordinary people. After they went to the supernatural space inside the library, they activated their spirits and became Eojo Ryongsa." Sim Ryong opened the door with one hand and continued her inquiry. "What about their abilities?" BangHu's ability wasn't mentioned over the phone, but from what they said, it doesn't seem too bad. As for Joho, according to his own words, every night after 11 o'clock, he becomes more handsome. His body's potential increases, muscles develop, mainly enhancing his libido. Sim Ryong snorted dismissively after hearing this, showing disdain for his ability. "It's barely enough to be a vulture," she remarked. "Currently, our investigation unit lacks manpower. If BangHu indeed has abilities, they can be evaluated through a spiritual test for recruitment. As for Joho, we don't need him, but he must be closely monitored to prevent misuse of his abilities, especially if he preys on vulnerable women. If FA members had powerful abilities like Joho, what would they do first?" Inside BangHu's room, his persistent wife clung like a leech, constantly asking if he noticed her. Before him stood a stunningly beautiful woman in a revealing nightgown, arousing the desire of any man. Despite this temptation that could drive any man crazy, BangHu remained impassive, silently watching TV without reacting to any news about the accident involving the procurement department staff. Was it due to overwhelming paranormal energy or the excessively strong capabilities of that special organization? At that moment, BangHu suddenly heard footsteps in the hallway. His enhanced hearing picked up sounds from a great distance, even detecting them as the two individuals ascended the stairs. To his surprise, the footsteps halted right outside his door. Ignoring his wife's persistent questions about where he was going, BangHu decided to investigate the person outside the door. He needed to determine whether they were supernatural beings or ordinary humans. Did they come here to find him, or did they have another motive? Through the cat-eye hole on the door, BangHu saw a beautiful woman dressed provocatively, her eyes sharp and cold. Behind her stood a man in a suit, invisible in the supernatural realm unless seen. After the man knocked on the door, BangHu was certain they were not supernatural beings but ordinary humans. Opening the door, BangHu was greeted by Lee Moon-seol asking if he was BangHu. They introduced themselves as part of the Global Paranormal Events, Joint Investigation Strategic Defense and Support Staff. They presented their certification, which also revealed their identities. "You're here faster than I expected," BangHu calmly assessed them. "Please come in and let's talk." Simryong and Lee Moon-seol observed BangHu intently, seemingly unaware of his wife clinging to his arm. Simryong found it perplexing that BangHu remained so composed, unlike what she had anticipated. She wondered if he already knew they would come to his house. BangHu silently evaluated the uninvited guests, wondering if they could see his wife, or if they were pretending not to. He pondered if their visit was related to Yeojeoryongsa, and decided to gather useful information and seize the opportunity to find out more. Lee Moon-seol introduced the girl accompanying them as investigator Simryong and himself as her assistant. They worked for the Post-Event Protection and Offensive Joint Defense Unit, investigating global paranormal events. BangHu remained silent, his gaze unusually calm, unaffected by anything that might sway him. Simryong felt increasingly strange because BangHu's calm demeanor was unlike that of most survivors she had encountered who typically showed signs of agitation or unstable emotions after such events. BangHu seemed entirely different. "BangHu, did you know about our investigative agency before?" Lee Moon-seol asked. "I didn't know, but if the real world truly exists, disturbances caused by supernatural beings won't be hard to predict," BangHu replied calmly. "Behind them, there is a force protecting social order. After experiencing paranormal events, one can remain calm and speculate." "Indeed, you're not ordinary," Simryong nodded. "As I suspected, our agency is officially recruiting Yeojeoryongsa, specialized in dealing with the supernatural. We're here today, partly to investigate library-related reports, and partly to see if you qualify to join us," Lee Moon-seol added. The outsiders, BangHu's gaze remained fixed on Simryong, yet little did he realize that what he saw in her eyes was a different world, visible only to him. Simryong continued, "Despite the abundance of Yeojeoryongsa in plain sight, it is only the investigative bureau that holds a vast trove of confidential information coveted by Yeojeoryongsa. Why won't you look at her? Am I no longer attractive to you?" Her face, in his aesthetic judgment, resembled a disco dancer's as she faced death in his hands. BangHu pondered how her expression might look, surely enrapturing. Elsewhere, a young man, stabbed 18 times by his wife, had descended into madness, consumed with vengeance. Returning to Simryong, confident that BangHu wouldn't pass up the chance to become an Yeojeoryongsa, legally employed by the Bureau, she urged, "First, tell me what you know about the anomalies at the Jiryu Library." Simryong's question prompted BangHu to rise, adjusting his posture for ease and composure. "Before I address your inquiry," he calmly began, "I have questions of my own." Simryong frowned in annoyance. "I'm asking him, and yet he dares to turn the tables on me." Seated beside Lee Moon-seol, she swiftly sensed the authorities' looming presence, knowing failure to manage promptly could spell disaster. Known for her bold and arrogant demeanor, Simryong commanded respect even from the bureau chief, but under her assistant's soothing influence, she finally calmed. BangHu continued, relying on intuition. He discerned Simryong was also an Yeojeoryongsa, contrary to her assistant. Why is that? He wondered aloud. Could Yeojeoryongsa be paired with ordinary individuals, a bureau arrangement? Did they suspect her psyche, possibly disturbed by demons, had an archaic disposition. Collaborating with a sound mind could bolster oversight and restraint. If true, Yeojori employed by the Bureau weren't as free as BangHu had imagined. Simrayon had just regained her composure when she erupted in anger once more. Her glare at BangHu seemed to pierce through him, as if she could devour him alive. If not for her assistant's intervention, she might have acted upon those impulses. "You're testing my limits, aren't you? If you want to die, just say the word. I'll make sure it's done," she threatened sharply. "BangHu, if you have questions, ask quickly, but don't provoke the investigator. If she gets angry, no one can save you." BangHu silently pondered. Indeed, Yeojori were easily provoked, and Simryong's current display of dominance and arrogance underlined her refusal to yield to authority. However, he cared little for such matters. He simply wanted to understand the essence of the paranormal. Thus, he asked Simryong and Lee Moon-seol, "What exactly are anomalies?" This question is something most survivors of the anomalies want to know. What are anomalies? Where do they come from? What is their purpose? The initial investigation had defined anomalies as twisted spiritual entities carrying sources of contamination. They existed in various forms, some flesh and blood, others ethereal beings, and some mere conceptual distortions of the paranormal. They appeared unexpectedly, without any discernible pattern, bearing immense animosity towards humanity and a tendency to feed on human flesh, or more precisely, on human spiritual energy, to bolster their own strength. Each anomaly emits a constant radiation of contamination, explained Lee Moon-seol. Strange energies that disturb human souls, stirring negative emotions and distorting rationality. After resolving the first issue, BangHu proceeded to his second question. How are the abilities of Yeojori graded? Contrary to Simryong's impatient demeanor, Lee Moon-seol remained composed. It appeared that Fuong Tin-sin had some understanding of Yeojori. He took out a notebook and a pen, continuing, "The abilities of Yeojori are graded based on intuition, illuminated by how much." BangHu's wife played her tricks, yet he remained unresponsive, opting instead to stand aside and eavesdrop. He curiously peered at Lee Moon-seol's notebook, prompting her to unconsciously lick her lips and emit a deep, bell-like laugh. Who would have thought there were so many types of Yeojori? She chuckled. Lee Moon-seol explained, "Normally, spiritual illumination is rated on a scale of 182, with 10% increments. For instance, newcomers like Mr. BangHu here would be considered Class 1, just starting out. As their spiritual illumination increases, reaching 214 for example, they would become Class 2 Yeojori, with stronger energies leading to mutation. At 416, they would reach Class 3, like myself. Beyond that, there are rumored Class 4 and 5 Yeojori, but that information is classified. The higher the class, the harder it is to illuminate spiritually, and their numbers are fewer." BangHu, intrigued, asked, "So, what happens if an Yeojori reaches 100% spiritual illumination?" "As far as I know," Lee Moon-seol replied, "no one in the world has reached 100%. Even reaching Class 5 is theoretical. To achieve higher illumination, they must find stronger anomalies, continuously experiencing life and death cycles. However, this also directly increases their mortality rate. Yeojori and anomalies are opposing yet mutually supportive factions. The stronger the anomaly, the stronger the Yeojori. But currently, even the highest level anomalies recorded aren't enough to create the most powerful Yeojori. BangHu intended to ask a third question but was interrupted by Simryong. Her patience seemed to have reached its limit. "Why so many questions? We don't have the time or energy to listen to your foolish inquiries," she snapped. Lee Moon-seol handed him the global forum addresses for paranormal anomalies, advising, "If you want to know more, find it there. Everything bizarre in Jiryu Library, the more detailed, the better. But beware, don't accept packages from strangers. This is a global secret forum beyond the reach of investigation bureaus. It's in your best interest not to trifle with it." Faced with Simryong's anger, BangHu acted oblivious. "I still have one last question I hope to have answered." BangHu pointed behind him without turning around, knowing exactly what was there. "Did any of you see my wife?" he asked. The female demon eagerly listened to his question, waiting for this moment. She looked affectionately at BangHu and said, "Honey, you know you can always see me, right?" Her words seemed to provoke Simryong, who immediately looked shocked. "Why would you say that?" she demanded, carefully examining the area behind BangHu, finding nothing there. BangHu persisted, "Where is my wife?" Lee Moonsil also failed to see the female demon. "What are you talking about?" she asked, puzzled. "According to our records, you don't have a wife, not even a girlfriend." Contrasting the perplexed expressions of Simryong and Lee Moonsil, the female demon remained cheerful. "I know you can see me, honey. You see me, don't you?" BangHu asked them once more, making sure they truly saw nothing, or were pretending not to. The atmosphere in the room suddenly grew eerily quiet. Lee Moonsil whispered to Simryong that BangHu, who had just become Iljoryongsa, was not in a normal state of mind. Despite this, BangHu remained calm and seemed to see illusions. Simryong was visibly angry, accusing BangHu of mocking them. Observing their expressions, BangHu concluded they weren't pretending. That meant they truly couldn't see his wife. Making up his mind, BangHu glanced behind him. Sure enough, the female demon was still standing there, as if waiting for his next words. BangHu's next statement left everyone in the room stunned. "Wife, I can see you now." "BangHu, if you don't want to cooperate with our investigation bureau, just say it straight." "There's no need for these tricks," Simryong retorted. But before she could finish, an overwhelming sense of danger struck directly into her mind. In Simryong's view, the space around her began to distort, resonating with the sweet voice of a young girl who couldn't contain her excitement. "Honey, I know you can see me," she exclaimed. As she finished speaking, a slender and beautiful leg stepped out from nowhere. In an instant, a beautiful woman appeared, wearing a light blue silk nightgown. She suddenly turned her head 180 degrees backwards, her eyes cravingly scanning everyone in the room. Humanity never expected to encounter so many different types of beings like her. Lee Moonsil and Simryong couldn't remain calm any longer. They immediately stood up from their seats. "What is that?" Lee Moonsil exclaimed. At this moment, the delicate, cherry blossom-like lips of the female demon stretched to her ears. Her teeth turned razor-sharp, resembling those of a predator. Her smooth, rosy complexion had turned pallid like that of a corpse. Her disheveled hair danced in the air. With eyes burning red, dark and sinister like those of a demon, cracks began to appear on her porcelain-like face. In an instant, countless black fissures spread across her entire body. In a chillingly piercing voice, she exclaimed, "It's been so long since I've tasted Iljoryongsa. It's truly nostalgic." Simryong shouted in terror, "BangHu, who are you really?" In her eyes, BangHu wasn't just a newly awakened Iljoryongsa. He had become something much more terrifying. "I never expected that my wife would be a demon. I couldn't have imagined this." BangHu laughed wildly, showing no fear whatsoever, much like a monster behind him. "It's not a demon, it's really my wife." After conversing with his wife, BangHu turned to Simryong and Lee Moonsil. "Now you see her, right?" he asked, finally realizing they could now see her. "It seems that because I answered my wife, it activated a means of communication, allowing my wife's illusion to enter reality. This also means that seeing a demon and Iljoryongsa have nothing to do with each other," he continued. "Whether it's a normal person or Iljoryongsa, they all can't see the demon walking around. In the world, only I can see it. Every time I'm careful not to be discovered, I'll have to endure the pain of thousands of knives stabbing me." At this point, Simryong decided to act first. From her hand, the air suddenly twisted and turned, followed by the appearance of two purple flames, raging and abnormal in their heat. This caused the room's temperature to rise rapidly, even starting to burn the nearby curtain. This was Simryong's skill, known as Chogawa. She directed the two flames straight at the female demon behind BangHu, their intense heat capable of causing items in the house to burst into flames before even making contact with them. BangHu assessed, "Simryong's abilities are indeed powerful, fitting for an Iljoryongsa of level 2. The violent flames exploded on the body of the female demon, but they seemed to encounter an icy resistance. In an instant, they were extinguished, leaving her unscathed. Simryeon's eyes widened in shock. I can't believe this. She's not injured. Simryeon realized the demon in front of her wasn't something a level 2 Iljoryongsa like herself could handle. She immediately turned around, pulling Lee Moonseal along. It's too strong. We can't deal with this, let's run. They only saw the pale hand of the female demon gently waving. The air around them seemed charged with something stimulating. Everyone saw a flash of light emit from the demon's mouth, as she let out a horrifying scream, "Die over here!" Simryeon, in the midst of escaping, suddenly froze. Her face still showed fear and concern, but a second later, her and Lee Moonseal's heads rolled to the ground. It was unexpected that the female demon could take the life of a level 2 Iljoryongsa with just one finger. BangHu didn't hesitate. He rushed to check the bodies of the two. He wanted to find useful information before his wife turned her attention to him. He tore open Simryeon's clothes and discovered she was wearing pink lingerie. He continued searching under her skirt and found a pink fox tattoo. It seemed she really liked the color pink. BangHu then checked all over Lee Moonseal. He found a piece of paper in his pocket. Just as BangHu began to read the paper, a sharp sound rang in his ear. "Husband, what are you looking for?" At that moment, a long wet tongue appeared within his sight. He didn't need to look to know who it belonged to. BangHu ignored it and continued searching for any useful information. Suddenly, a sharp pain struck in front of his eyes. His consciousness darkened gradually. BangHu stood before the door of his house. The time marker showed he had just returned from Cheongsa Mental Hospital, the death restoration psychonauts. He couldn't go back to the time he left the abyss. It seemed he returned home in the previous round, using a knife to perform an autopsy on his murdered wife. It looked like he was about to enter the next round without encountering a new demon. BangHu involuntarily smiled. 8:40 tomorrow morning is when the investigation agency opens. It's also when the predictive abilities appear in people's eyes. If the investigative agency exists, there's no reason not to take advantage of them. But relying solely on myself, I want to make demons worldwide feel pain. It seems impossible, so I have to borrow help from outside. He noted down the address of the Global Demon Forum that Lee Moonseal had provided him. Perhaps I can gather some useful information. Opening the internet browser, BangHu clicked on the link in the center of the screen. Immediately, a face covered in blood almost filled the entire screen. The fierce red eyes stared directly at him. The website slowly revealed a dark red interface with various options for regions and countries like Europe, Asia, Japan, Korea, China, and others. BangHu chose the China region. After clicking, more classifications appeared, including basic information about demons, Iljoryongsa, and special awards. BangHu reasoned that within the website, there might contain the true nature of this world of demons. While looking at the screen, the demon computer constantly teased him. Even the mouse cursor twisted and whimpered in his palm. "Husband, you're too hasty. Take it easy." BangHu ignored the physical presence of the female demon and continued his work. Although the information was incomplete, it was still more than what he could find on his own. Just as he casually clicked to open a demonic origin invitation, a reminder frame popped up, indicating insufficient balance to proceed. BangHu's gaze shifted to the invitation below, where 2 consecutive rows of 6 digits struck his eyes. There were 2 options, confirm and cancel. It seemed that to view this invitation, approximately 100,000 would be required for the higher tier, or just 1 to 2,000 for the lower tier. Documents of high confidentiality or importance could go up to hundreds of thousands. "We only have a few hundred at home," BangHu remarked. This is the world of Iljoryongsa after all. It seemed that before utilizing the future prediction ability to gather useful information, he could only view the free sections of this forum. If even capable individuals came, the time would have come. Thus, the value of future predictions like his would be greatly discounted. I could consider my ability a waste of time, BangHu reflected, as those who read this entire notice have already wasted 5 minutes for me. In the final section, he added a mocking expression. "This is what you get without spending money." How dare the poster challenge me like that? I remember you well. Suddenly, a girl's sneeze echoed inside a certain apartment. She was wearing pink clothes and sitting in front of a computer screen, wondering who could be scolding her like that. This girl was the one who had posted the thread, "Invincible Sailor Moon." Meanwhile, BangHu was still focused on his computer. He was using the network address given to him by the investigator to search for government organization posts. If confirmed by the government, the information inside would surely be useful. A quick night passed, and after staying awake, BangHu finally summarized some knowledge about demons and Iojoriyangsa. Demons, regardless of their personal strength, are divided into levels based on their danger, ranging from low to high. D, C, B, A, and the highest S. In foreign countries, there's a peculiar creature known as weak strength epidemic, which, despite being vulnerable, can be defeated even by a first-grade Iojoriyangsa if proper precautions are taken. However, they can spread over a wide area in a short time, destroying the majority of the population in major cities. Therefore, they are classified as Grade A, and Grade S demons have the ability to destroy an entire country in a very short time, belonging to the national extermination level. The higher the danger level of demons, the fewer their numbers but the stronger their actual power. There are many verifications of the origin of demons on the forum. Normal demons appear in the air without any rules, but truly dangerous demons are always around us. Under normal circumstances, there's no way to see them. Only under certain conditions can they materialize and enter reality. After reading through all the posts overnight, there were no discoveries. Some say they can see an entire street filled with demons. BangHu resolved to earn more money to become stronger, allowing him to gather more useful information on the forum. Many posts discussed diverse forms of diabolic gases carrying the power of demons, with numerous unexpected functionalities. No longer doubting, through numerous partitions, countless demons had already been tainted and turned into diabolic gases. One post mentioned wanting to harness the greatest strength of diabolic gases, requiring awakening and establishing a relationship with its core. The current time was 5:30 a.m., with more than 3 hours remaining until the investigation office opened. Time was ample. After speaking, BangHu picked up the surgical knife and initiated the procedure. His consciousness began relentless infiltration, conducting internal surgery. His mind felt like entering a dark realm where countless demonic entities howled in the shadows, madly assaulting BangHu's consciousness. Waves of despair and negativity flooded his being, attempting to twist his psyche into a monstrous form. However, BangHu's spirit resembled an unfathomable abyss, allowing these negative emotions to flow in as he maintained a calm demeanor. The purpose of the surgical procedure was to distort BangHu's psyche, yet his mental state was already twisted from the start. Addressing the surgical knife, BangHu remarked, "So this is the extent of your despair? Then obediently become my demonic spirit. Accept your master." His spiritual essence was enhanced by 2%, illuminating the surgical procedure. It became evident that this surgery wasn't merely a basic weapon against supernatural entities. BangHu controlled all the demonic powers within, aiding him with numerous spirits. However, due to the chaotic nature of these powers conflicting with his innate qualities, he couldn't handle a large quantity of them until his physical condition was further reinforced. BangHu went to prepare breakfast. While he was eating, his phone suddenly rang. The screen displayed a call from Joho. "BangHu, do you know what your ability is?" Joho teased. "Haha, I'm afraid you won't believe it when I say your ability enhances sexual prowess after 11 hours. How did you know that, BangHu? Are you able to predict the future?" Joho continued, finding it rather uninteresting. "All right, nothing serious, I'll hang up now." BangHu interrupted, abruptly ending the call to avoid further conversation. Inside a parked car beneath BangHu's residence, Lee Moon-seol accidentally dropped his wireless earphone. Detecting something amiss in his expression, Simryong asked what was wrong. Lee Moon-seol confessed to overhearing the phone conversation between BangHu and Joho. "I heard about the power that BangHu and Joho talked about," Lee Moon-seol admitted, visibly shaken. "What kind of power could make you so disheartened?" Simryong asked. "Joho's power is sexual prowess. It's genuinely shocking," Lee Moon-seol responded, shaken by its potential impact on others. The nature of his power isn't important. What matters is BangHu. He can predict the future, Simryong concluded. Upon hearing this, Simryong could no longer remain calm. Her expression turned solemn. Lee Moonseol continued, he just said on the phone that he needs to welcome 2 guests shortly. Could it be that the people he mentioned are you and me? Does this world truly possess the power to predict the future? Simryong pondered aloud. It seems inappropriate for even a low-level Eojoryongsa like BangHu to have such abilities. Remember last week when we encountered someone who could manipulate spatial movement? It was limited to a 10 centimeters displacement per use, requiring an hour for their spiritual energy to recover. BangHu, as a new Eojoryongsa, theoretically shouldn't differ much from that person, Lee Moonseol added. He should only predict events in the near future, but he can predict our arrival here. Rather than speculate, we should directly ask BangHu. Deciding to verify BangHu's future prediction ability, the two got out of the car and headed upstairs. Upon reaching the 5th floor, they noticed room 501's door was unlocked, slightly ajar, as if waiting for someone. Simryong and Lee Moonseol wondered if this was mere coincidence or orchestrated by BangHu, intentionally leaving it open to invite them in. After a brief contemplation, Simryong pushed the door open and entered. She couldn't believe that someone like BangHu, a low-level Eojoryongsa just awakening to his spiritual powers, could possess such formidable predictive abilities. Inside the room, BangHu stood with his back to them, preparing tea to welcome his guests. On the table were 2 cups with steam still rising from the freshly brewed liquid, indicating BangHu had foreseen the arrival of 2 visitors today. Remaining composed, BangHu calmly sat down and invited them. Simryong, Miss Lee, please have a seat. After this statement, the two affirmed that BangHu's ability to predict the future was completely real, as they had never met before. How did you know our names? One asked. And how did you know we would come here for tea? Added the other. BangHu slowly raised his teacup to his lips, taking a sip. Because my eyes can see the future, he calmly admitted. Despite hearing him confess, Simryong still wanted clarification. How can you prove that you can see the future? Both of them were investigators who had come here for 2 purposes. One was to investigate the Jiryu library, and the other was to assess Mai and Joho's qualifications to join the investigative agency. BangHu, the senior, couldn't prove his ability to predict the future. The reason we came here was very easy to guess, Simryong said. All you had to do was research about the investigative agency beforehand. BangHu didn't respond but just made a cold sound. Lee Moonseol seemed a bit hesitant. So, your reasoning is logical. How many people know about this? He asked. Actually, I've always secretly loved Simryong. Indeed, his heart had been stabbed in front of a crush. Lee Moonseol couldn't remain calm any longer. BangHu continued. He had already written a love letter early on, and placed it in the left pocket of his jacket. Hearing this, Lee Moonseol was extremely frightened, unconsciously placing his hand on his chest. That was exactly where he had hidden the letter. Without waiting for BangHu to finish, Simryong interjected. There are 7 parts to the truth in BangHu's words. The content of the letter is Rin Sol. When you read this letter, I must be dead. Actually, I always had something to say to you. Ignoring his attempts to explain, Simryong searched Lee Moonseol's jacket pocket. The investigator knows me well. This BangHu guy is talking nonsense. There really isn't any. However, in the end, Simryong still found the letter inside his inner jacket pocket. Even with 10 layers of pants, this young man is still utterly humiliated. Indeed, just as BangHu said. After reading it, Simryong returned the letter to Lee Moonseol. Knowing the content doesn't mean you can predict the future. Anyway, it's not a future message, it was written earlier. Simryong's abilities as a lady from a prestigious family were indeed impressive, with her measurements being 85 to 6380. My abilities within the Eojoryongsa circle are not a secret. To guess the measurements so accurately, all I can say is you're a fraud. BangHu remained calm, sipping his tea. Miss Simryong had a secret that no one knew. Do you really want me to tell? Lee Moonseol unconsciously swallowed at the mention of his crush's secret. Simryong, however, calmly told BangHu, "Go ahead, there's no secret I can't share." At this point, BangHu saw no need for further concealment. Regardless, it was your own mouth that said. "Miss Simryong," he remarked, "is extremely fond of the color pink. Everything she wears is pink. She even has a pink fox tattoo on her thigh." In an instant, flames engulfed the room, and a wave of intense heat erupted. Simryong's eyes were filled with indignation as she stared straight at BangHu. "Your power is not prediction. It's more like X-ray vision. You and Joho, a wretched duo, are nothing at all." Facing her fury, BangHu calmly explained, "Prediction isn't arbitrary. Knowing what will happen in the future, I foresaw your actions last night when Lee Moon-seol wrote a letter and Miss Simryong was organizing her wardrobe." Hearing this, Simryong's anger subsided. Blushing, she thought to herself, "Luckily, this young man doesn't possess the ability to see through my clothes. But why do I always feel like BangHu can see more than that?" After all, her discreetly placed tattoo confirmed his suspicions. Simryong double-checked BangHu one last time. "If what you say is true, tell me the winning lottery numbers for tonight." BangHu agreed readily, just needing to write down a series of numbers and wait for the lottery draw to end. "I'll take my own life and return then. That should be enough time to gather the necessary information. If you can predict, why not buy lottery tickets and make yourself rich?" Simryong asked skeptically, hinting at the butterfly effect. Simryong had a slight doubt, asking, "What if those numbers don't win?" "If they don't win," BangHu replied calmly, "I'll end my life. Will that satisfy you, Miss Simryong?" BangHu's indifferent demeanor infuriated Simryong even more. "What do you mean by that?" "Stay calm, Investigator Simryong," BangHu advised. "After all, tonight's lottery draw is about to begin." "Sir BangHu," he continued, "let's talk about what happened in the supernatural realm." "Jiryu Library." BangHu nodded lightly. "That realm is called Cheonsan Mental Hospital. Its appearance was quite sudden. By the time we realized it, it had already infiltrated the library's sales department. Then everyone advanced inside the mental hospital. The capabilities of a Grade 1 Eojoryeonsa are limited. We should choose carefully what to disclose about our experiences in that realm. The presence of surgical procedures could lead to unnecessary complications. For now, it's best to keep the existence of it a secret." That's the gist of it. Because my abilities are limited, I can only choose crucial moments to predict. I managed to see 2 paintings, one guided Joho and me through an escape route after encountering demonic visions in the dream scene, successfully exiting. The other connected to numerous hospital rooms, revealing terrifying demonic energy. We were pursued by a female doctor. Therefore, I estimate there must be at least a dozen demons inside Cheonsan Mental Hospital. Are you sure about this, BangHu? Do you understand what you're saying? There's no precedent globally for discovering a place with several dozen demons like that. In most cases, realms appear alongside demonic beings due to misunderstandings or convergence phenomena. But among demonic entities, there's no way to peacefully coexist, they can only be devoured. So fundamentally, the idea of several dozen demons gathering in one place doesn't hold up. If you're not mistaken, it's merely a slave controlled by a group of demons. Despite their large numbers, their power is small. I see that you're intimidated and fundamentally don't understand demonic entities, which is why you mistake them for demonic beings. With your level of understanding, it's challenging to comprehend what I'm saying. You simply need to report this to your superiors. That's all. The obstacle to survival isn't strength or weakness, but arrogance. That's why I say one shouldn't be too arrogant. Lee Moon-seol hastily intervened as Simryong fumed in silence. "Thank you, Sir BangHu, for reporting the truth, but please join us back at the headquarters." BangHu didn't refuse Lee Moon-seol's invitation. He placed his teacup on the table, then stood up urging the two to depart quickly. An hour later, a silver car brought BangHu to the investigation agency. The investigation took place in an underground location, concealed within 10 layers of architecture. Despite this, the place still harbored numerous supernatural entities, unconsciously wandering about without being noticed by anyone. It seemed that even Eojori needed specific conditions to perceive these supernatural beings. Without them, the investigation agency wouldn't have encountered so many wandering entities. BangHu was somewhat excited, unable to contain a smile at the corners of his mouth. Don't disappoint me with the supernatural investigation, all right? The door opened, and two people led him inside. Ahead lay a staircase descending into the ground. After a lengthy walk, they entered a room illuminated by light. Unexpectedly, the main office of the investigation agency was located underground. The architecture on the surface was merely a visual deception. As BangHu followed them, he quietly assessed the surroundings. It appeared quite similar to a normal office, with staff members working inside. Some were continuously receiving nuisance calls for support, investment loans, and fraudulent courses, everything from room rental to travel and health. Someone unintentionally bumped into a girl behind them, causing water to spill on her clothes. "I'm so sorry," the person apologized. "I didn't see you there." "Watch where you're going," she snapped back sharply. "Keep your hands to yourself and move along the hallway." Finally, BangHu was led to a waiting room where he comfortably sat down in a natural chair, feeling at home. "Your department seems quite lively," he remarked. "Stay here for a moment," Lee Moon-seul said. "Follow me to report to the chief." After the door closed behind them, BangHu began using his psychic abilities to investigate the place. With the help of the energy from the surgical procedures, his intuition was growing stronger and his senses more acute. He could sense the expanding world around him, yet he couldn't reach its boundaries. "This investigation agency seems static," Sinryong commented. "If we want to report to the chief's office is right here." At that moment, Simryong suddenly turned around, feeling as though something was following her. Lee Moon-seul noticed and asked, "Is something wrong? Is there something unusual in the agency?" Simryong reassured him that it was just a fleeting feeling and she wasn't sure herself. Here, BangHu was still sitting, drinking water, waiting for them. He didn't expect Simryong's intuition to be so sensitive. The office of the chief here surely has the capability to predict the future. Does anyone else here know? There's also another person who left the supernatural with BangHu, named Joho. Predicting the future is crucial, whether true or false, and must remain strictly confidential for now. No information can be leaked. Joho also needs security measures. Do you understand, sir? After that, the chief asked Lee Moon-seul, "Where are the winning numbers?" He immediately brought up a piece of paper. "Here, sir. No problem if they're not guessed correctly." Who knows, he might have already arranged his assistant. Lee Moon-seul, go find someone to supervise full-time. He received those 2 letters. Ensure that tonight's results are entirely random. I really want to see how courageous this young BangHu really is. Simryong, she's also a deep-seated Eojori. With her experience, she said, has he lied? If it's fake, he's definitely a scammer with a very strong psychological profile. Moreover, predicting the future is very easy to expose him. I have no reason to deceive us, said the chief, feeling reassured. He lifted the water bottle to take a sip to quench his thirst. However, Simryong's next words made him spray all the water out. I feel like he's lying, based on a woman's intuition. True or false, we'll find out tonight. In the recording, he said there are several dozen unique animals inside Cheongsan Mental Hospital. Do you really believe him? For now, the world doesn't have this kind of void. As for BangHu, even if he knew everything, he couldn't survive or escape. According to my prediction, there are probably only 2 unique creatures in the Jiryu Library void. The first is a female doctor with the pseudonym Demon Physician, likely at level D based on the description. The second is manipulating dream scenes, a unique creature with the pseudonym Dream Supporter, which could be classified as level C. Because Jiryu Library is the fixed void, the local population is sparse. Summing up, the danger level is at level C. How terrifying is the level of terror in dream scenes? Enough to scare ordinary people. Even a timid person like Joho could rely on a movie to suppress fear and survive. So, those Eojori with deep-seated traits won't have any conflicts. Its capabilities, once predicted at a dangerous level, are unmatched by a female doctor. She's bringing BangHu over here for a while.